not only have I always loved precious metals, but as an adult since 24. So I believe in people. I believe in, you only live once. You've got to spend your time efficiently and, pursue things that make you happy without going backwards financially. So what we're doing here, what At Cost Metals is, to me personally, is the combination of a product that always has value, combined with the fact that it's timely. Right now, World War III could pop up at any moment. All it takes is one country, one hothead that really takes it to the next level. And then the people that have metal will be better off than those that don't. So I do believe that. And on top of all that, I believe in networking. I believe in people, helping each other, making honest to goodness referrals, saying, hey, I know the best place to buy metal, without having to twist someone's arm to start housing, affiliate events in their living room. It's way more simple than that. So I'm a student of life. I can't tell you when my conscious thought about making this a career would be, but I can tell you that the first time I ever held it, that for the next week, I probably never stopped thinking about it, not out of greed, but just, all the different aspects of it. It's been around. It was $18 for 200 years after the Revolutionary War. And then arbitrarily, the government said, hey, we need all your gold and silver. And then effectively, they doubled the value of it just because they had the power of the gold. They had, it's the other golden rule: he who has the gold makes the rules. And, I don't subscribe to that model unless it benefits everybody. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how to answer that. I love philosophy. I don't think I've ever had to really analyze my passion. I just can tell you from my heart, I know it's accurate, and I know it is the right thing to do. It would be the easiest thing in the world to just open up a storefront and sell precious metals and put a markup on it. But I'm doing all the marketing. I'm doing all that advertising, and Visa, MasterCard, and all the different radio stations and all the different marketing companies. That doesn't help my fronts. Mm-hmm. This does.
Mm-hmm. So when you say at first of all, it's good to hear, that you care about people and that you want to make sure, that sounds extremely sincere. But in addition to that, my question is, as of right now, when you say at cost, you mean at your cost that you pay because you get a substantial discount by buying in bulk. Is that correct?
And it's not that we have to buy it in bulk. It's that we have access to order whatever we want at the discounted price. So when you purchase metal, you're not tag teaming it with Wendell on the same purchase where we're spending $1 million and then divvying it up. We're just saying, as a company, At Cost Metals as a company, I need $1,000 worth of these generic rounds, or I need 2 gold eagles. And we do that hundreds of times a day. And because of that, your order, you get to purchase at the best possible price. Imagine, and it's exactly the same as a car dealership. If I owned a Chevy dealership and I went to GM and said, I'll purchase 5% of everything that you make, but I need it at this price. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They would be inclined to say, okay, sounds good. Appreciate it. And that's what our vendors do. They say, we love you. Thank you. Here's your price. Mm-hmm. I'll dive one step further into that. Mm-hmm. So it's precious metals and it's software. I've done software my whole adult life for the most part. I was with Mutual of New York for a brief time and early 20s. Mm-hmm. And didn't quite have enough gray hair at the time to convince enough people that would make significant investments. I could have stuck it out, but I just didn't feel like being broke, and it seemed like the education was the best thing that came out of it. So I had to find my own way. When I first started buying, I was paying more than I should, and I worked my way up the chain to buy precious metals. And at the same time, I was doing software. So the first time I integrated with a large metals company, I told them, this is the software that I need you guys to do it. If you guys build it, I will use it. If you don't build it, that's fine, but I'll build it. But I'm going to charge every mom and pop in America $200 a month for it. You know, every gold and silver shop on the corner, because it would take it to the next level. You know, precious metals hasn't evolved that much, and it has in the last several years, maybe last 10 years.
Mhm.
But it took a long time for the precious metals industry to catch up to the rest of technology. So when my customers join at Cost Metals,
Mhm.
they see the metal, they fund their account,
Mhm.
which they can either push a button to pull all their funds out or push a button in the shopping cart to order whatever they want. So they always either have an order or have access to their money.
Mhm.
We lock that order in with our supplier. They will drop ship it and send us a tracking number, and our customer receives the metal. All the accounting is taken care of. It's automatic. And all of that can happen with basically no human interaction.
Mhm.
Short of those objectives where people ask, how do I know I'm going to get the metal? How long have you been in business? What purity is the metal? Normal questions like that, where it's, you know, is this Silver Eagle the same as the Silver Eagle at ATMEX or Kitco or Gainesville or Blanchard or whatever? So other than that, there is no human interaction. It's just software. So we take this whole industry and look at it as a service rather than a profit center. Whereas every other company selling precious metals has to sell it at a significant markup because they're paying for advertising, because they're paying for commissions, et cetera, et cetera. Our software is so far beyond what those companies do in our business model, where we have a small membership, which allows us to keep our servers and customer support enough, wiggle room for profit to make it worthwhile. And we pay the rest out in commission, where that helps people, and everybody that's a customer gets it at the best possible price. So if any one of those legs is pulled out from underneath that table, it would fall apart. We've got to have affiliates because we've got to have new customers, which bring us purchasing power, which gives us the best price, which incentivizes affiliates to tell more customers about it because it's an easy sale. So that cycle is, I don't know if it's perfect, but it's probably perfect enough. If we could figure out a different way to do it that was better, we'd probably add that same day.
Mhm. So if I'm hearing you correctly, you created the software. The software has a whole lot of interaction. If I'm hearing you correctly, the software has a whole lot of interaction that doesn't involve humans, which eliminates a whole lot of potential human error, and reduces cost so that you can focus on allowing people to be able to get a good price at cost price, and focus more on allowing the person to make enough money to potentially be able to get their goal at no cost because they keep referring people. Would that be correct?
That's a very, very accurate statement. Very
Okay.
precise. And I'm enjoying this.
I gotta jump in. That is a wonderful question and even an amazing statement. I am a fly on the wall. Y'all keep talking.
Well, listen, I
Thank
can
you.
look at you now. I just pulled up at where I'm standing, so we can talk face to face now.
Yes,
And
sir.
I appreciate your patience while I was driving.
I understand.
Gold is $2,700 an ounce now, and what was it 5 years ago?
23 and change. That was
23. Okay, 2,300. Okay, so
I'm sorry. Silver was 27.
okay, silver's 27, not $2,700 an ounce.
No.
$27 an ounce. Yeah,
Yes.
Silver's. I was gonna say silver's cheap.
Yeah.
So How much were these metals 5 years ago? Why do you think what they are now? And what do you think would be the case 5 years from now? And why do you think that's so?
That's a great question. It's a little bit of a tricky question because as a company, we have to avoid telling you that whatever you purchase today is going to be worth more.
Mm-hmm.
So I think from a personal standpoint that precious metals will continue to go up as well. First of all, BRICS is based on gold. So, 2/3 of the world's population is now using gold-backed currency.
Mm-hmm.
So number one, that's probably the number one driving force in the rising value of precious metals.
So can I make sure I got that right? Did you say 2/3 of the world's countries are using gold as the standard now for their currency, for their paper currency? Is that correct?
Yes.
So that alone is going to create the demand for gold because they need to have the gold to actually back up the paper.
That's right. So Brazil,
Okay.
Russia, India, China, South Africa, and 80 other countries all dropped the U.S. dollar for gold-backed currency.
So, so the U.S. dollar used to back these foreign people's currencies?
Absolutely.
I wasn't aware of that.
It was the world reserve currency. So if you were in Brazil and you bought oil from Venezuela, you were paying in the U.S. dollar, the petrodollar, versus today, as of a month ago, it's those countries and many others are now using their own currency or BRICS.
Mm-hmm. So when you say BRICS, you're talking about gold BRICS?
No. BRICS is the economic alliance between Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa.
Okay.
So there's a BRICS agreement that started a few years ago, so that I'm not going to say our adversaries, but people that were no longer interested in having the U.S. dollar as the reserve currency for the world, and chose to transition away from the petrodollar and the U.S. dollar as the reserve back to gold.
I wouldn't call them adversaries either. I just call them wise people.
I agree. Yeah, you can't be mad at them. Every time the U.S. would send a check to another country, by the time they cashed it, it was worth less than when we wrote it. And, a perfect example of this, I think about this often. You remember maybe 10, 12 years ago, the cash for clunkers, where you could turn in your car and it was guaranteed minimum price, $4,000, subsidized. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know who came up with that was the Chinese embassy.
Is that so?
All those coins, all those cars were crushed down into cubes and flattened out and shipped over to China for the raw precious metals value. Not precious metals, excuse me, aluminum, iron, etc. So they took those hard assets as payment in lieu of dollars.
Wow.
So it sounds like what you're saying is they traded in some worthless dollars for some worthwhile metal.
That's right.
Okay, that makes sense too. That's a real smart strategic move too by China. And okay, so it sounds like what you're saying is the reason things have gone the way that they've gone up until this point. The number one driver is because 2/3 of the world is letting gold back the currency now. Is there a second driver? Or is that you're saying the primary one?
Inflation is a big part of it too. So it's more than just saying, "Oh, let's go back to the dollar." COVID did a number, obviously, globally. Supply chain was an issue. Digital currencies, not just crypto, but like the Fed now, central bank digital currencies. Not everybody's a big fan of that. Obviously, governments are, because they can just push a button and withdraw your funds or pay their friends, or arbitrarily use your money how they see fit, or restrict your money how they see fit. And it's a different story when you have a tangible asset in your pocket versus them having a semi-tangible asset in their pocket, giving you permission to use it. So, two schools of thought. One is I trust the government implicitly. I'm okay with them storing my money. And the other one is I'll just manage that part myself. Thank you very much. Much like what you do.
Well, depends on what you call the government. So we know that the feds are not federal, and we know that the government is a company.
Right.
So we know 28 USC 3002 Section 15 is that the United States is a corporation and not a company at all. The United States in Washington D.C. that is. So we know it's a foreign occupied company with a EIN, just like anybody else's company. And I wouldn't dare trust my money with a company posing as a country. So. So we're not anywhere near naive or sleep on who the Federal Reserve really is and how they operate.
Yes.
So, so over the next 5 years, and just in your guess, what do you think our goal will be?
5 years. If it was 5,000 an ounce, I wouldn't be surprised. If it was 10,000 an ounce, I would say I would be at least somewhat surprised. If it was 1,500 an ounce, I would be very surprised.
Mm-hmm. Because you can't see less people going to the gold standard to back up their money, to back up their paper money. You can see more people going to the gold standard. Right. So that just that one driver alone should drive the price.
I think so.
So when you ship the gold out to people, so if people are wondering, if I put some gold in my house, and might make people want to break in the house and steal my gold. So what? Because that's the first thought came to my mind. I travel all the time and all that. I got to thinking if I had some gold in the house, even though I live in a very quiet neighborhood, if people got wind that, hey, Brother Rick got you got tons of gold over in there. Now it's house we're breaking in. What do you recommend to people who don't really want to keep the gold in their house? What should they do?
That's a great question. We have 2 options for delivery. Actually, it's 3. 1, ship it. So it would go directly to your house. You put it in the safe and move forward. People like to travel. Some people have members in their family that they can't trust having, drug addicts, etc. It's the reality of it where they can't store it. So we've got an agreement and partnership with Brinks.
Mm-hmm.
It's 58 basis points for whatever you're holding in the vault, which is less than the maintenance fees on an ETF.
Mm-hmm.
So it's super cheap to do that. Again, our precious metals vendors are aggregated, pooled purchasing power. We do the same thing with the vaults. So they're in over 100 countries. Buy from Cost Metals. You can have it shipped to your house. You can have it shipped into the vault in your home country.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point, you have a sub-account of our master account, which you're interfacing directly with Brinks. And then the third option, too, is some people can't have it delivered to them. For example, like South Korea, we can certainly ship to South Korea. They're an ally, and there's no legal reason why. It just typically doesn't make its way to South Korea. Someone along the way gets someone magically finds a box with no name on it. So they can participate in the meantime through what we call our DAP vault, which is a digital and physical vault. So it's real assets, tangible assets where our customers are purchasing, but leaving it in possession of the DAP vault, which is our vendors, so that at any moment they can buy it and they own it and it sits in the vault. And if they ever want to sell it, they push a button. It's instantly sold. If it went up in price, they made money. If it went down in price, they it lost value.
Mm-hmm.
But then they just push a button and those funds transition out of gold back into USD. And then they push a button, withdraw the funds. So it's exactly the same as owning it it is owning it. It's just without the physical possession of it. So all 3 of those options I think, cover everything. Physical delivery, send it to your vault in your country, or leave it with the suppliers. And the whole time they would have an SKR too.
Because I make sure I got it right. So you can have it shipped directly to your house. That's pretty self-explanatory.
Right.
Or you can have it shipped to a vault in your country, as long as you don't run the risk of having somebody. So if somebody's sending something to the United States, is there a vault in every city in the United States, or how does that work? What do you mean when you say?
Oh, no. I mean, there's a lot, but domestic shipping is relatively inexpensive. Our shipping charges are never more than $25.
Mm-hmm.
So anything beyond that, the value dictates that it's free shipping from our vendors.
No, that's not my question. No, my question is that you ship something to the United States. You saying put it in a safe. You were saying about how it be in a safe and in a.
Oh,
for
in
the person
your
who
safe.
doesn't, my safe, for the person who doesn't want it to come to the house,
Right.
but it wants to be shipped to this.
It could literally ship anywhere. It could ship to the house. It could ship to one of our vaults, or it could ship to a vault of your choosing. So if you have a vault or secure complex, safety deposit box, what have you, it doesn't matter to us where we ship it. We just wanted to have at least an option for people that could get discounted pricing on their vaulting.
Okay, so if a person's in the United States, that's doable.
Sure.
That's doable. Okay, and then and then if I'm hearing you right, the last one is for the person who doesn't want their physical stuff shipped because they don't want it intercepted, so they get a digital vault, and which is still a real vault, a digital / hard vault.
And in that last category of people, let's say that they did not have enough money to buy a monster box, 500 coins, something like that. Maybe they just wanted to start their own dollar cost averaging and do $20 a week, something like that, where you're accumulating precious metals. You might not have the 2,300 for the ounce of gold, but you might have $20. So then, as metal potentially increases in price, then you're growing right along with it.
Okay.
And you might have an ounce one day.
Okay. All right. So there's a couple of things. And the last thing is that, so I'm just gonna buy some and see how it works, and see how the process goes. And if you ship some to, I wouldn't want to ship directly to my house, but can they ship it to the post office, and I can just go get it?
Sure.
So it can be shipped that way, where it just goes to the post office address that we give, and then they just hold it there until we get there. Yes. Okay. All right. And okay. All right. Well, let me see that. Try that and see what is. Just try some and see what's going on. My observation is that if you really want to sell a lot online, if you learn how to do a challenge, and you have a weekly challenge that explains these things and all of that, and then at the end of the week give people the opportunity to be able to join in bulk and mass, you could speed up your marketing process, substantially. So that's what I do, and that's what I teach people how to do. I teach people how to create online challenges where you send out messages to people all month long. The challenge is called the Financial IQ Challenge, and so I challenge people's. And we do two things: we teach you how to become a millionaire online, and how to preserve your money in trust. So that's the two things that we teach. And within a week, you can get the whole world making a decision, as opposed to all the slow Fred Flintstone way of trying to get to people in the middle of this digital era. So you can fire Wilma. You don't have to raise. You can get rid of Dino. Yeah, and Barney won't be your best friend no more. And you can get rid of what's the baby's names? Pebbles and Bam Bam. Yeah, you can take them to the adoption agency. And speed up your processes. So that's what I recommend to you all. I'll order something to get started, but I recommend that you all come and learn how to do this massive marketing where you can reach people clear across because you got a global product, so you can reach people clear across the globe. And I went from making $100,000 a year to being able to do the things that we're doing. And with you having a global business like this, where you can just ship stuff out and all that sort of a thing, you really like have no limits to how much money you can make because your capacity is basically say that software is doing the work to handle the capacity. Is that correct?
For the most part, yes, sir.
Yeah, for the most part, I mean. So you're not. It seems like you have it's extremely scalable. Is what it sounds like. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's
Yeah,
right.
potentially scalable. Okay. All right.